Good evening. Welcome to St. Pius 10th Church. My name is Dan Hillsdorf. I'm a member of our Fishers of Men group that meets here twice a month, and I'm also a member of the Knights of Columbus Council 17086. Both groups are sponsoring tonight's event, and we thank you for coming out on Friday night. I appreciate it. I want to tell a little bit of a background about how tonight happened. We had some friends. Actually, I remember these child's godparents. They went to the March for Life for the first time last year, and around February we got an invitation to go to Albany for what was called a day of mourning, which was a large number of Christians came together. And I found myself sitting with my bride beneath the chambers in Albany where some of these atrocious laws were passed last February. And I heard myself being told that we were partly responsible for electing the people that did this. And I felt the need to do something. And my wife did too. She came home and she volunteered to work at the Pius Center. And in March we were invited to see the movie Unplanned. And if you haven't seen that movie, I strongly recommend it. I can't do it justice trying to describe it here today. It's a very good movie. I was moved to invite Jim Havens to come and talk to our Fishers of Men group in the spring. And then over the summer, I proposed that Jim come back. Actually, the court told me to ask him whether he wanted to come back and talk to us 30 guys on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock, or have the opportunity to talk to more people, perhaps for the whole parish. So Jim opted to do this event. The Knights of Columbus agreed to also co-sponsor this, and we'll see plenty of them here tonight. And that's basically the story of how we got here tonight. Our speaker, Jim, is the general manager of WHIC 92.9, now found in 1460 AM, the Station of the Cross, Catholic Radio. His radio show, Love One Abortion, features top guests from around the world and broadcasts globally throughout the Station of the Cross network, including iCatholic Radio, the #1 Catholic radio mobile app with over 350,000 downloads. He holds an MA in theology from Franciscan University in Steubenville, Ohio. Jim leads Rock Love London Abortion, an on-the-ground, grassroots, pro-life ministry that effectively serves the least of these and strives to hasten the end of abortion in Rochester, New York. You can reach Jim at jimhavens@gmail.com. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Jim Havens.
Thank you, Dan. I want to thank Dan and the Fishers of Men here, as well as the Knights of Columbus Council here. The pastor, Father Benacci, the entire parish, for welcoming us here tonight, and thank you for being here as well. Let's pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Jesus, you are the King. We love you and we praise you. We know that you have come to call us into a kingdom where you reign, a kingdom where you reveal to us the way of our earthly life as disciples, to be able to live in that kingdom and share your life and share your mission in leading others into that kingdom. And we praise you. Help us to pick up our cross each day as you have called us to do, and help us also to know how your yoke is easy and your burden is light, and how those things can go together. Only in your heart, Jesus, only in your sacred heart do we find the treasure that we are made for. So we thank you and we praise you. We ask you to pour your grace upon this time that we have together. May good fruits come from it. May we go forth from here tonight certainly better for having been intercession before her Son, our Lord Jesus, as we pray. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Saint Joseph, pray for us. Saint Pius X, pray for us. All you holy angels and holy saints, pray for us. Okay, how does this sound? Can you hear pretty good? A little bit echoey, but not too bad. How about in the back? All right, okay. If it gets too echoey, I can try taking the mic off and just shouting it out. It might be good for that, I don't know. But we'll try it this way and see how it goes. But the title for this evening is Mercy for the Least of These, How to Increase Our Local Pro-Life Effectiveness. Just by way of introduction, to set kind of the context, to set the mood here tonight, what I believe the Lord has us here for is that He wants to get into our trajectory. That's the word that comes up for me as I was preparing for this in prayer. Trajectory. So I put out a call throughout our promotion saying, hey, especially bring your young people up. Everybody's welcome, certainly, but especially the young people. And one of the reasons that was coming up for me is because, I didn't really know it at the time. I just had a sense to try to be intentional about that. And I thank the parents and those who were intentional about reaching out to younger folks and inviting them, whether they said yes or not. But this idea of trajectory sort of rose up for me after, which was, look, if we're older, our trajectory is a little bit shorter in this earthly life, right? It's still super important. It's still like the Lord can encounter us on that trajectory today and reveal some things to us that we need to see and hear, and we can respond humbly, gratefully, with great fidelity, and that might be the thing that makes the eternal difference, maybe in our souls, or maybe in the souls of some others that He's calling us to reach out to. But also, when we're younger, that trajectory being a bit longer, there's just great influence that can be had in the life of a young person if they hear the truth from a young age. Right? It's great to hear it at any age, but the younger we hear it, the younger we receive it, and then go out and act on it, this amazing truth that has been revealed to us, that I hope to unpack some tonight. It's an exciting vision, who we are, what we're made for, what this earthly life is meant to be. It's an exciting vision. So we want to try to impart that, propose that to the young people as soon as possible, so they can have that strong foundation and not get swept away in the lies and deceptions of the world that would try to deceive us to believe that some of the most exciting things that we are made for are somehow boring or not that valuable, and to try to get us to turn upside down and put our hearts into places where our hearts were never meant to be. I think of that line in the gospel that Jesus says to us, wherever your treasure is, there your heart is. Right? We want to get that right. What is our treasure? Where are we putting our heart? And to be honest about that. Not to just say it, but to really be honest with ourselves. Have I really made Jesus my treasure? Right? Have I really put Him first in my life? And not just Him, but all that He has proposed for our belief. Everything He lays out in the gospel, which is served so beautifully by the church that He instituted, the Catholic Church, which is simply a servant of the deposit of faith that Jesus came to bring. So help us to receive tonight, Lord. Help us to receive humbly. So I think this is kind of a repent and believe sort of night, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. We're going to hear some truths tonight that whether we've heard them before The truth demands something of us. The gospel, the good news, demands something of us. It's not enough to just say, yeah, I accept that, yeah, I believe that. Well, do we really? Our actions show what we really believe, what we really accept, and how much so. So it requires us to change. The truth requires us to conform our minds and our hearts and our lives to it, our actions to it more and more and more. This is the demand of the gospel. It is demanding, yes, and at the same time, it is all for us. It is the treasure. Right? It is the treasure. Pro nobis is the Latin. I don't know that much Latin, but I like that little Latin phrase. Pro nobis, for us. It is all for us. It is all for us. God created us out of his love. He invites us to share his very life and share his mission to go out into the world and to share the gospel, share his love with others. And there's very concrete ways that he calls us to do that. So that's what we're getting into tonight. The reality of abortion and our responsibility to respond. This is really quite simple. In our time, it's been made sort of this complicated thing, but the truth of it is actually very, very simple. We can start with the science of it, right? When does life begin? This is not a complicated question. It's actually a scientific fact that life begins at conception, fertilization, from that very first cell coming into being. Has a completely unique, distinct DNA from the mother and the father. All that one-celled human zygote needs is nutrition and time, and we were all that size once. We were all that size once. We all began as that distinct individual cell at conception, fertilization. And then we quickly started to grow. We were alive in that moment as well, that we started to grow. 9 months later, we are born. 10 months, I think, is, if we really look through it. But we say 9 months, I think, usually. So, but then, it's really just the fact that we use these words zygote, embryo, fetus, and these are scientific terms, but we need not be afraid of them. Right? They're talking about stages of human development. That's it. Right? So we can keep going. Right? Zygote, embryo, fetus. We can say newborn, infant, toddler, adolescent, teenager, young adult, elderly, right? I mean, we can keep going. So it's just stages of human development. And so let's just be clear about the science. It's conclusive. There should be no debate on it. Human life begins at conception, fertilization. If anybody wants to dig any deeper into that, I would highly recommend a great book by Professor Robert George, a professor at Princeton University, and his book called Embryo, A Defense of Human Life. Then we get into sort of the philosophical questions, I guess, which again can seem really complicated, but really are very simple. It comes down to this. Okay, human life begins at conception, fertilization, scientific fact, fine. But is that human life equal to human life at those later stages of development? And so there are some people that will at this point say, well, yeah, these are human beings at this early stage of development, but they're not human persons. And so since they're not human persons because I say so, we can do whatever we want with them. All right, so this is a bad philosophy. It's just a bad way of thinking. The truth is that there's nothing that would distinguish the human being from the earliest stages of development from the human being at later stages of development, besides all things that are attributed to exactly who that human being is at that age. Right? So we're talking about a smaller size, a smaller level of development, in a different environment, but the exact environment in which it's meant to be, and smaller, I think I already said that, level of development, or degree of dependency. But all of these things that are real differences, none of them strike at the very foundation of the value of the human being, of the human person. We were all still intrinsically valuable from the earliest stages of our development. If someone would have destroyed us from those early stages, we would not continue. We would not be here, right? And so we must treat all human beings as human persons, as equal in value to every human being, every human person, inside the womb, outside the womb. And so, can we directly, intentionally kill other human beings? Is this a good idea, to directly, intentionally kill other human beings? And if so, who can we directly, intentionally kill? And this kind of goes in line with this bad philosophy. If we start to say, it connects, right? So if you can say, well, this human being's not really a person because of this characteristic or that characteristic, then we can do different things with them because we can treat them less than, right? Not equal in value. This has happened throughout history, right? So there hasn't always been a time where people have understood the infinite value of the human person even outside of the womb, right? And so because of characteristics like race, or even in the genocide of Rwanda, that was based on two groups of people, the Hutus and the Tutsis, and the distinguishing factor there was simply their genealogy, that one descended from a tribe, the other descended from a royal family. And really, when you looked at them, it was very hard to even distinguish the difference between these two people. There were slight differences in the nose or in the eyes, they would say, and they would try to figure it out that way. It was one group of people slaughtering another group of people because of those differences that were real, but then the perception became, well, because of these differences, we can treat this person this way. And we need to stand up very simply. We have the truth on our side, and the truth is very simple. To just say every human being is a human person. Every human being, which is a human person, is equal in dignity to every other. Right? We're different. We have differences about us, but we're all of equal value. And there are certain rights to be ascribed to every single human being, every single human person because of that. Foundational to all of those rights is the right to life. Without the right to life, then we really have nothing if we can just kill each other indiscriminately because whoever's in power says that this group is less than, and therefore, since they're less valuable, we can do what we want with them, we can dispose of them if we wish. So these are important things to think through, and really it's quite simple, even though there's a lot of debate about them at times. But then we get into the golden rule, simply the golden rule. So this is something that Jesus affirms in the gospel. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But this is something that's been around in the minds of humanity centuries before Jesus. Certainly you can find it in the Old Testament in different areas, but even in just philosophers throughout time, people get this. There's a human responsibility we have to one another, right? It just seems common sense. If you don't want to be treated that way, then don't treat somebody else that way. So if I don't want to be killed for no reason, then I shouldn't go kill somebody else for no reason. And by the way, I should point out here that another hot topic is the death penalty, capital punishment. I just want to point out here, without saying much about it, I would just say, look, let's look at what the church has taught on that over time, and there's much to be discussed about that. Again, it can be quite simple, but at the same time, there can be a lot to be discussed in there. But I want to point out a big difference there. So even if somebody is saying, look, there is a valid way that we would be directly, intentionally killing a human person when it comes to the death penalty. And the church has taught over time that that's not intrinsically evil. And so let's just be clear about why. It's important for us to work through these things. And that would be not because the person is no longer
That's the huge difference. We're not saying anything about the value of that person. That person is still infinitely valuable, of intrinsic worth and human dignity, no less than anybody else. The problem becomes, do they need to be removed from the rest of society? And so Pope John Paul II in the Gospel of Life, he made the point to say, look, in modern times, we don't really need the death penalty anymore because we've got prisons, and we can keep people away from society, and so there's no need for it on those grounds. But long ago, when that would be more difficult, or even in tribes of today, there may be times where if somebody is committing acts of murder against the community, and there's no way to separate them or to keep them apart, there may be a just use of the death penalty. That would be a sad and tragic thing. But again, they're not being killed because they're being told that they're less human than somebody else. So that's an important distinction to see. Or also the other time that could be that the church has sort of raised up the death penalty is in grounds of punishment for the acts that were committed. And there can be a lot of debate about that. But all that I want to say is that even in those cases where somebody argues that there is a right use in that way, we can certainly say it's not because the person is less human. It would be because they committed certain acts that then are being deemed so egregious, so out of line, that there would be this sort of a punishment. And again, I don't want to get way off on that trail, but I just want to raise up even the distinction there, right? We want to make sure that we're always holding the truth about human dignity, that every human being is worthy of life and of equal value intrinsically, simply because they are human. That's what we want to get to. So how do we treat one another? The golden rule, very simple: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And even just looking through this lens that all humanity ought to be able to understand, when we look at the reality of abortion, which is so awful in terms of loss of life, and the nature of what it is, and then the dramatic effects that ripple out into the community. So awful, but in terms of loss of life, again, it's a fact. We're talking in our nation alone, in the U.S. alone, it's 3,000 children in the womb every single day, on average, being killed by abortion, directly, intentionally killed by abortion. If these are equal human beings, equal in value, if we were all that size once, if we would want to do unto others as we would want others to do unto us, this is a very, very, very bad thing. And then the nature of it, you talk about the most intimate of unions, right? The union between a mother and the child growing in her womb, and for the lie of abortion to come along, which is now so entrenched in our culture, to deceive the woman into thinking that the real problems she has, perhaps in her life, are embodied in that child. And really, the child is the problem, so much so that the child needs to be killed in order to address the problems. A complete lie from the pit of hell. The child is not the problem. The child is never the problem, but it can seem that way when this lie of abortion is echoing throughout our culture as a perceived truth and as a perceived good, when in fact it is neither. So the truth is that we're called to love one another, right? And Jesus is very clear about this. So we can know this though as human beings, that love, even without the gospel, we can say, look, what is love? We can get into that and just say, it's to will the good. It's to actually see the other person, to think about what their good is, and to do that. It's never the good of another person to intentionally, directly kill an innocent child in the womb. That's never going to be good for that child, clearly, right? And then when Jesus in the gospel comes along and says we ought to love one another, and then when he talks about it even more clearly in the parable of the Good Samaritan and the parable of the judgment of nations, which I want to get into in just a moment, he makes it so crystal clear for us. How can there be any confusion for us in this time, right? So then we're going to get into kind of like, why are we still confused about this? Why are we not so convicted about this truth that we are on fire with love to do something about it? So that's kind of where we're going. But I just want to say here, let me lay out this vision real quick, because I think that it's important. Our God is a Holy Trinity, an eternal communion of love. Right? We've got the Father giving himself in complete love to the Son wide open to receive the love of the Father, the Son pouring himself out back in love, this reciprocity of love. And this love is so great, this exchange of love, so great between them that love is actually then the third person of the Holy Trinity, the Holy Spirit, then wide open to receive the love of the Father, receive the love of the Son, and then the love the Father and the Son back with everything. It's dynamic, this eternal exchange of love. This could seem like that's just some theoretical sort of abstract thing, but let's play it out, right? So then, this eternal exchange of love, our God, who always was, always is, always will be, this love cannot be contained to himself. This love is so abundant, so overflowing, so dynamic that it then creates out of itself. And this is where creation comes into being, out of the love of the very nature of God, the love of God, God who is love. Is an extension of him being poured out. And then the culmination of this creation is a man and a woman who are made in the image and likeness of this God, which means that they are called to be wide open, to receive the love of God for them, and then to pour themselves back out in love to God. So we're not just like any other part of creation, which doesn't have the free will to open their heart to receive the love of God and to choose to love God back. We're very different, made in the image and likeness of God. And so to make that choice is the fundamental choice of who we really are as human beings. Right? If we really get that, everything flows from that. Our lives begin to make sense if we really start to understand that. Again, let's play it out and make it more concrete. Then we have the family. Right? So, the family is an image of the Holy Trinity. Right? Because the Holy Trinity is stamped in us. Remember, we're made in the image and likeness of God, who is a communion of love, an eternal exchange of love. So what do we see in the family? We see the husband and the wife, and they give themselves completely to one another in this commitment of marriage. And what do we see in this love? It's two people, one pouring himself out to the other wide open to receive that love and wide open to love back, right? And then this love is so abundant that then this love then pours out into the creation of a third person, a child, right? Which if everything is natural and normal, would be the result, right? And then what we see is the child's not just left alone, like good luck out there, right? The child's invited into that love. The husband and the wife become mother and father, pouring themselves out in love to the child wide open to receive the love of his parents and loving them back, right? And so this is stamped into us. This is who we are, right? And then this love in the family doesn't just stay to itself. It's meant to overflow out into the community, to go out and to love others, right? Overflowing. If we understand that, this is a lens we can see everything through. Everything that we do. We can start to understand our sin as obstacles between that love. Between the love of the Father, who He's poured it out perfectly. No problem there. The problem is, are we wide open to receive it perfectly? Usually there's lots of obstacles and rocks in that soil that need to be pulled out. Thanks be to God to the young people who maybe haven't made those choices yet, or gotten into some false beliefs or deception, to have such obstacles in their hearts, perhaps. So take great care early on not to get those things in there, right? To have that relationship with God, a purity of love of God that can really receive His love and love Him back. So we can start to understand the sin, and we can start to say, all right, Lord, help me to remove some of these rocks. I want to receive your love more. I want to love you better. And then how am I treating my spouse, right? Is that perfect? Am I receiving that perfectly and loving them back perfectly? There's work to do. There's work to do, but there's the vision that we are called to be moving into more and more. This vision loving my neighbor, right? What are the obstacles there? So we need to kind of look at that, I think, to help us to sort of just understand what in the world is going on today. Let's just dive into these parables real quick and see what Jesus has to say. See the light that Jesus comes to bring, because we get very confused on our own, and thanks be to God that Jesus comes and makes it so clear. And he, again, it's so simple that a child can understand it. Look, we have children that have attained great holiness, right? Youth is no obstacle to being able to receive God's love and to understand the truths that Jesus came to bring and to live them out. Youth is no obstacle, right? So a child can understand. It's simple, and yet there is a depth to it in which we can go deeper and deeper for the entirety of our earthly lives. That ought to excite us, right? Can we say yes to what it is in the simplicity and then dive in more and more and more? So, Jesus gives us lots of opportunity when we read the Gospels. And when we read the parable of the Good Samaritan, I just want to lift out a couple things. One thing is that he's asked, who is my neighbor? And Jesus lays out the parable, which makes it very clear, everybody's your neighbor. Every human being is your neighbor. There's no excuse to look at a certain human being and say, because of this characteristic, I'm going to treat you as less than or as different, or I'm not going to help you, No, that's not the way that it works. Every person is to be loved. We are all made for love of God, but also for love of one another, as is appropriate to the relationship. And what is appropriate to the relationship we see here is always, even if we don't know the person, even if it's a stranger, if they're hurting and in need by the side of the road, that's our responsibility if we encounter that. This is what the parable is all about. So we've got the holy guys, the priests of the time, walking. They see him, they're robbed and stripped and left half dead by the side of the road. They see him, and they go to the other side and walk out. Right? It's the Samaritan who sees, and then when he sees him, has compassion, and then goes to him, and then ministers to him, and then sets him up to be ministered to even more fully. Mercy is what Jesus calls us to there, to have compassion when we see that. Then he makes it even more clear for us in the judgment of nations in Matthew 25. This is where it gets really challenging, and it ought to really wake us up. If the parable of the Good Samaritan doesn't wake us up to say, I've got some room to grow, and I guess I better repent for where I haven't done that well and start saying yes to the simplicity of it and diving in to the depth of it, well, the judgment of nations ought to shake us out of our slumber. Because in that passage, Jesus is identifying himself with the least of these. Right? And he says, whatever you do unto them, you did it unto me. Whatever you did not do unto them, you did not do it unto me. Making it very clear for us, it's one or the other, right? Like, what you either did it or you didn't, right? And so he lays out some sensible material needs that the least of these are in need of. They're hungry, they're thirsty, they're in need of clothing, they're in prison, these things, right? But these are all sensible, felt material needs. But there's something even more fundamental and foundational that Jesus, it's all implied, which is if you're going to minister to somebody with those needs, the least of these, those who are in deep need in these ways, certainly you can only even encounter them if they're alive. Right? If they don't even have a right to their life, if they're allowed to be just killed just because somebody says they're not a human person, well, that's an even more foundational problem than the sensible need. So we've got a big task before us there. Yes, we need to see the least of these. We need to have compassion and mercy, which means that we go into action, that we engage. And so what does all that mean in the context of our day? It's really a difference between hypocrisy and integrity. That's the challenge before us. Hypocrisy or integrity. Hypocrisy meaning that we claim to believe something, but we don't actually really believe it very much at all. But we say we do. Integrity being we say we believe it, and we really do. And all of this can be proven in our actions, which is what Jesus is getting at in the judgment of nations, because we can deceive ourselves. Remember, there's that passage in the gospel where Jesus says, not everybody who says, Lord, Lord, is going to make it into heaven. What does that mean? That means that there are people that think they know, that at the end they're going to be like, Lord, Lord, and he's going to be like, no. That was hypocrisy. You didn't really believe in me. Right? You said you did. But what is he saying to us? How can we know for sure? Look at what is concrete. Look at our actions. Our actions will tell us what's in the heart. Right? It is a matter of the heart. Right? Do we really love him back? Do we really receive his love and love him back? Right? It is a matter of the heart, but that matter is revealed in our actions. It becomes concrete. And that's what he tells us in the judgment of nations. You either did it or you didn't do it. And he's pointing to the actions, which reveal that. So this ought to make us think. And when we have this reality of abortion in our time, and we have this human responsibility to live the golden rule, quite simply, but also this Christian calling to have mercy, to engage, to love the least of these, what does that really mean for us? And to get there, we first have to deal with the fact that we are all desensitized. We are all desensitized. Look, I'm paying attention. I'm trying to really focus in on trying to live this pretty intentionally. And at the same time, I will tell you, I am still desensitized to the reality of abortion that exists in our world today. And there is a way to show us very clearly how desensitized we are. And that is, it's really interesting because it's basically just to flip upside down the greatest lie that is told about pro-life people. Which is, the greatest lie that is told about pro-life people is, all you care about is people before they're born. Right? That is a total and complete lie. Quite frankly, it's demonic, right? Because it's lying about something that is so, it's just so wrong. And at such a level that it's inhibiting the good work that needs to be done by trying to damper it, by saying this horrible lie. So the truth is that, look, we all have to grow in love of neighbor, born and unborn. Every human person, we're called to love them all. Remember, everybody is our neighbor. The least of these can be found in the womb as well as outside of the womb. That is true. So we all have room to grow. And yet, the truth is that people that are trying to claim that pro-abortion people, that's the lie that they use to try to damper the enthusiasm of pro-life people, let us say. And the truth is that those are the very people that actually only care about born people. That's really the truth of that, right? So what we need to say is, what does it mean to really see it clearly? Let's go to the catechism on this. Jesus, again, is very clear, I think, in the gospel. And if the gospel, if we have the eyes to see, then it's going to guide us rightly on this. But Jesus also blessed us with a church that serves that deposit of faith, that can lay things out authoritatively to help us when maybe there's some disagreement. And the fact is that it is sad that there are some Christian communities who say, Lord, Lord, but they think abortion is okay. They even advocate for abortion. I came across one such group not too long ago, and I won't name them simply because I'm not sure I have the name exact in my mind right now, and I would hate to say the wrong place. But it's very sad when I studied what was going on in this community. They were promoting abortion as much as you can promote abortion in the name of Christ. I mean, horrible, horrible stuff. And so obviously, people can be reading the Bible and widely diverge in some essential areas. Thanks be to God, for the teachings of the church that can make some things very, very clear to us. So here's what we have from the teaching of the Catholic Church on abortion. Human life must be respected and protected absolutely from the moment of conception. Fertilization is what it means as well. From the first moment of his existence, a human being must be recognized as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent being to life. A human being must be recognized as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent being to life. Very clear. So very simply, the human being in the womb deserves the right to life by the intrinsic nature of being human and equal value to a child outside the womb. So here's the desensitization test, right? If what was going on into the children that are inside the womb was going on in our society to the children outside of the womb, would we do anything differently? Would we do anything differently? So 3,000, imagine 3,000 toddlers being killed every single day because they were deemed to be non-persons. Human beings that aren't persons, we can just kill them. The family doesn't want them. They're in poverty. They don't want the child. They can kill the toddler, right? 3,000 of them being killed. The 10-year-old, they're not fully developed yet. So 3,000 of them, they're not human persons. We can kill them. 3,000 a day. Imagine this is going on. Pick any type of person you want, but a person outside of the womb. If it was any group of people being killed by the thousands every day, intentionally, directly killed, simply because somebody was saying they were not a human person, I think we would care more. I think we would do more. And so therefore, that convicts me of my own deception to say, I'm desensitized. I need to wake up to that truth. I'm desensitized to the reality of abortion. And that ought to be hopeful once we get into that place. Because then we can say, all right, I can wake up from that. I can try to prick myself, wake myself up, think about the reality of what this is, and then honestly start to look at it and say, what am I called to do? What is the right response to this? What is my Christian calling in the face of this? Because the truth is, abortion isn't just about the child in the womb anyway, right? So how foolish for anybody to say that, like, pro-life people only care about people before they're born, right? Abortion affects, don't you think abortion affects the mother who's having the abortion quite a bit? Of course, right? We're talking about moms, pregnant moms that are in need, that are being sold this lie by an industry of abortion. That's really what it is. They're selling this product, and they're convincing people that they need this product with billions of dollars of marketing and advertising over the years, soaked into our culture, now soaked into even our legal system, our media, like every system is this systemic evil that is all throughout pervasive in our culture. No wonder we're desensitized. We're swimming in a culture that's telling us the lie, right? So we have to wake ourselves up to the truth and say, how can I start building a culture of truth, a culture of life that really understands what's going on? We need to love those pregnant moms in need that are being exploited by the lie of abortion every day. Thousands of them, every single day, being exploited by this lie, right? What is most intimate, what is meant to be most intimate, this relationship of love between the mother and the child that is living, growing in her womb, she's being convinced to turn against and to even have that child killed. The effects are atrocious, beyond even really what we can imagine as that trickles out into our culture. The effect on the father, the effect on the families. We are losing our humanity if we go along with it. To the degree that we go along with it, we're becoming less and less human by the day. So we have to wake ourselves up and be who we're called to be human, to be Christians, to go and see these people in need, the least of these, and go and love them, and go and help them, go engage. Or we can be hypocrites and say we believe that they're equal, and then just kind of live our lives and not really act the way we would if it was people outside of the womb that were being treated that way. So that ought to be kind of a gut check for all of us. To not ignore or minimize it, but try to truly see it rightly. All right. I'm going to share a couple local opportunities real quick, and then I want to get interactive on this for the rest of our time. Let's do that. So, local opportunities. So how can we do something? How can we do something? And we're going to talk about some effective actions, but I just want to make sure to really share with you some things that are going on that you have a place in, and to make sure that you know about it, and that you hear the invitation, and that you can really consider getting involved, because you can make an extreme amount of difference here in engaging our neighbors in need in this community, really loving them, and there is such effective action we can take. So here's what we have found. And by the way, I got into this coming here a few years back, because as I was serving the church in all these different areas, Catholic schools, parishes, Catholic organization, what I found is I started to get convicted about who is really doing much in this area, and just realizing, it came back upon me that, again, just getting convicted to myself and saying, I'm desensitized to this. And I'm looking around and thinking, wow, I guess all of us are desensitized to this. And I would try to bring it up to leadership in different areas, and they would, look at me like I'm an alien or something. What are you talking about? But the fact is that this is true. All this stuff that I'm laying out is true. And so we have to do something. And so what it convicted me of is that we've got to live our witness in this area better. And it's got to, what can I do? I don't know. It's a hard question to look at yourself and say, what can I do? I think we can go two places with that. We can either say, I can't do anything, so forget about it and go back to what we were doing. Or we can say, what can I do? I don't know, but I got to do something, and I guess it has to start with me. So at the time, I just said, all right, well, I guess I'll do this. There was an opportunity to do a radio show. I guess I'll do a radio show on this topic and try to learn more. And so that's what I did with this show, Love and Abortion, just bringing pro-life experts on and asking them the questions that I wanted to learn more about, and being able to learn, educate myself over about 2 years of doing that. And that's all out there. There's some really good stuff with the guests that we have had on, and just a great way to be formed in the truth of what we can do and what's really going on. So it's a blessing. You can go check those out if you want at loveandabortion.com. All the radio shows are up there. You can just kind of look at the guests and look at the topics that you would be interested in. It's all podcasted and stuff too. So a great way to dive into some of this stuff more on your own time. But pretty quickly in doing the radio show, a few months in, I realized I can't just be talking about this. Got to get on the ground. Got to be doing something. Had some history in that, in doing some sidewalk ministry and stuff in the past, and so just kind of diving into that on the ground here. And over time, God has blessed that. 40 Days for Life has been strong here for many years, thanks be to God. And God convicted me to dive into that, and then out of that we grew into doing these trainings with this national training material from a great organization called Sidewalk Advocates for Life. So I started training people in how to do this prayerful presence and loving outreach. The training is really about the loving outreach piece for people that are called to not just be there in prayer, which is the foundation of everything. Yes, be there in prayer. It's not just be there in prayer. It's please come be there in prayer. That's everything. And while you're there in prayer, sometimes people experience a prompting to say, I think I'm supposed to reach out to the people going in and out of love. Right, out of love, to share the great resources that are available, to share another way. And so some great training we have to help people to understand some real good principles on how to do that better. This has kind of been built over time. More than, I think about 250 people have gone through the training. We have more than 100 people scheduled on the sidewalk on a weekly basis, most of them 2-hour slots. They come out there for 2 hours year-round, and they're out there in prayer and loving outreach. We cover the downtown Planned Parenthood abortion facility, which is the headquarters for this region of central and western New York. And then we cover the Planned Parenthood in Greece, about a quarter of the time of their open hours. The Planned Parenthood downtown, almost all of their open hours, we have people out there. So So nobody ever goes in and out without somebody there for them, who sees them, who loves them, and who wants to just point them to a better way. And so, and then also now a third location we're trying to minister at 2020 South Clinton with Morris Workman over there. So those 3 abortion facilities, we're trying to fill the sidewalks out. And the reason why is because we know it works. That's why. Here's the statistics that let us know that. Abby Johnson, if you know of her, the unplanned story and all of that, she was the director of the 3rd largest Planned Parenthood in the nation, ends up becoming pro-life, ends up starting this ministry called And Then There Were None, which has now helped almost 600 abortion workers to leave the industry. Yes, we're there in love for them as well. We want to live the gospel in that area too. Just because somebody thinks they're our enemy or we're their enemy doesn't mean it's true. They're not our enemy and we're not their enemy. We're there in love for them, right? But for the grace of God, I could be in that situation. And what would I want? What's the golden rule? I want somebody there on the sidewalk, loving me, reaching out for me, praying for me, trying to show me a better way, saying, we will help you get a better job. You don't have to work here. You're made for more. Abortionworker.com. Just check it out, right? You can talk to us anytime. So there are very simple things that we can say to invite people out there. But anyway, Abby Johnson, at her last Planned Parenthood conference, when she was working there, they told her that when there's peaceful, prayerful presence outside of these abortion facilities, that Planned Parenthood's internal data was saying that the no-show rate on a given day was about 25%. That means about a quarter of the people just don't show up to their appointments normally at Planned Parenthood. But when there's peaceful, prayerful presence on the sidewalk, that goes up to 75%, right? 3/4 of them just won't come to their appointment. What we've heard back from many people who have driven by and then decided to just go on, if they do stop and share their story with us, they will often say, I was praying for a sign of God from God, and there you were. I mean, we don't know how God can use us. What we know is we've got to do something. So can we go to the place where we know that these horrific things are taking place? Can we go there and bring the light and love of Christ? Of course He's going to pour His grace through us there. Of course He is. And so we go with faith and love, and we let Him use us, and we might just be standing there, and we don't know how He's working through us and how that's affecting the heart of another person driving by who might have an appointment there that day. But we don't really need to know, right? Blessed are those who believe and have not seen. We can trust the Lord in being out there, that He's going to be working through us. One quick story on that I think drives this point home really well is one of our great sidewalk advocates, Sheila, who was out there one day, and she just waved to a guy, and the guy was stopped in the parking lot and was in tears. And he rolled down his window. She asked him to roll down the window. He did. She went over and talked with him, and the situation was that he had his wife inside for an abortion, and the wife was carrying twins. And he was obviously devastated by this, in tears. And she talked to him, and she just said, well, can you call her and ask her to come out? He said, yeah. So he picked up the phone. He did better than call her. He brought her right up on the phone on FaceTime. She popped up, and immediately she said, what, do you want me to come out? And he said, yeah, come on out. She came out. They chose life for those twins. You know? And as they were leaving, he told Sheila, he said, this is all because you gave me that victory sign. Thank you so much. And she's thinking, what is he talking about? All I did was wait, right? But to him, the Lord used it for his perception to see it as some sort of a victory sign, exactly the thing that he needed to see, and that made all the difference. So all we have to do is show up. It's simple. We don't need to overcomplicate it. We don't need the training to show up and pray. And that is the most essential aspect of this whole ministry. To simply show up on the sidewalk and be there. Our very presence there says we see you, we love you, we care about you. And then the grace of God working through that, that is so good. And there's so much fruit that comes from it. And then there's more we can do even on top of that. But that's the foundation. All it takes is somebody to show up and be there. And so we've got this structure built out. So the opportunity is You can simply plug in. One of the greatest obstacles that for people to get involved oftentimes is the first thing we think is, I don't have time, right? We're all super busy, and all of us can say that. And yet, that's the very thing that I would say is the reason to get involved. And this is how it works, is by saying, look, that may be true that you don't have a lot of free time going on. However, what I also think is true is that most people, especially people here that would come to a talk like this, you're here because you care. You're here because you want to do something. If you can be effective with a little bit of your time, you want to do that. So usually the struggle is, I don't have much time, and what can I do with the little bit of time that I do have? That, I think, is the real question. And so what this says is we understand you don't have to do a ton of time, right? Can you do 1 hour a week? What we're saying is there's an opportunity here to take a little bit of your time and to maximize it for the greatest effect. Can you do 1 hour a week on the sidewalk, right? You don't have to stand. If sitting is the posture that you need to take because of physical things, that's okay. God can use you no matter what's going on, right? Like, come in and sit the whole time and just be there in love and pray, and the Lord is going to use you. So time is really a great opportunity for us to maximize our time in this way. There's also, though, look, we're attached to a lot of comforts. Again, I just bring it back to myself. That I'm attached to a lot of comforts. We can put it on me. And maybe you guys are too, I don't know. But to look honestly at that and say, yeah, I may be really busy, but are there things that I can trim out? Right? Can I get up a little bit earlier and do something at this hour that I would have done at this hour? Can I wake up earlier and do it then? Can I stay a little later and do it then? Can I free up a little bit of time in my day by moving some things around and making this a priority? That's what the people have done. The over 100 people that are on the sidewalk, none of them had time either, right? But they made it a priority. They had to shift things around. They had to put their love into concrete action. It's not just an easy thing that just naturally takes place. We got to put the effort in to really make it work. I just want to encourage us with the vision of St. Francis. I love the visions that we can have where it's like, you know what, we want to see, like, this is what we're really made for. And then it's like, well, I'm not there yet, but I'm not going to get down about it. I'm going to say, I'm heading in that direction, right? The trajectory thing. Like, that's where I want to go. So I'm going to be moving in that direction. It may be slow. It may be over time, but that's the way I want to go. Here's a great vision, St. Francis of Assisi, right? What is one of the most powerful things in his life? That moment where he divested himself. He stripped himself of everything. This symbolic moment where he stripped himself down there in front of the bishop, a renunciation of his earthly father because of what was going on there, and to say, I want to be free to love my Heavenly Father and to love God and love my neighbor with everything. I want to be free of everything. Right? I want to strip myself and be divested of everything so I can be free to love. Right? So where is that in our lives? What do we have to strip ourselves of? What do we have to free ourselves from so we can be free for going out and loving our neighbor? This is something we can even look at, certainly in our marriages, in our families, whatever our vocation may be. Again, none of us are living those things perfectly. What do I need to free myself from so I can free myself for living out my vocation better, living out, whatever it is that I'm called to better. And I would say that we are all called to certainly take apostolic work to go out and love our neighbor, but also in this area, in this context of abortion that we're living in, we're all called to take direct action to try to do something to help our neighbors who are being specifically targeted for abortion, and to try to do what we can to end this massive ongoing human rights atrocity as soon as possible. Which this is a way to end it, because if we, again, it's a business, these abortion centers, if people turn away, then they're losing money, right? And if enough people turn away and they lose enough money, then they shut their doors. So this is what we see. There was an abortion center down in New Mexico that they found that they turned away about 10 to 15% of the business, and they couldn't handle it. They shut their doors, their budget couldn't withstand it. So this is not only a way to step out in a ministry that is going to love on people directly, directly in the moment and really see amazing things. Sometimes we get to see it. Oftentimes we don't get to see it, and that's okay. But then also to know that we are making an impact as well to actually end this atrocity in our community. And so it's real. This is ongoing. We have found something that is working. I wish I could show you this video tonight. We tried to figure out a way to make it work, and we weren't able, but this video that we just came out with, it's basically a woman, a grandmother of a mom that we helped recently. I'll tell you the story on it real quick where this part's not in the video, but I had showed up, I was a little bit late getting to the sidewalk to my shift that morning downtown. And I got there, I'm getting out of my car, and this woman comes walking out. And there were a couple other people out there. I can't recall exactly what the scene was, but I remember her. And she comes out, and I just tried to reach out to her. Hey, how are you this morning? Can I talk with you for a minute? And I forget what she said, but she was angry, and she made it known she was angry, and she didn't want to talk to me. Okay, fine, all right. Well, we're here for you. If you need anything, just know that anything at all, we will help you. So she walks down the street. Then I realize, look, we're all very human in this. It's not so romantic going out there. It's really hard to get there oftentimes. And then we get there, and then I'm like fumbling around thinking, all right, I have some stuff in my pocket I meant to leave in my car. All right, I'm going to go back in my car and put this stuff back in. So I start walking over there. And as I'm walking over to my car, she starts walking back on that same sidewalk. And I'm like, oh, great, she's going to think I'm following her. This is not good. Because everything we want to do out there is to exude love, to exude the opposite of the false narrative that the pro-abortion crowd pushes on us, which is to say, we are these people out there hating people and protesting women and harassing. I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth. And yet, that's what's baked into the culture. So when people come there, the clients, the people that are there for the appointments, that's what they're thinking, who we are before they even see us. So we've got to do really hard work to try to show the exact opposite and make that very clear as soon as possible, right? So I'm like, oh no, she's going to think I'm following her, that's not going to be good. So I take a step into the parking lot, even though it's like not even the concrete yet, it's just bushes and stuff. I'm kind of stepping into the bushes just to prove that I'm not following you, I'm going to my car. So she walks by, and as she's walking by, I just sense the Holy Spirit to just turn to her and just invite her one more time, and I just say, this is what struck me, and so I said it, and I just said, we love you. And she looks at me, and she's still angry, and she said, well, I love you too, but we're not here for that, you know? And I was like, well, whatever it is, we can help you. She didn't want to talk, she walked in. So praying, about 20 minutes later, she comes out with a young lady with her, and they're sitting there. And I say, hey, can I talk with you? This time her demeanor is different, and she elbows the young lady, and there he is, that's him, right? So the young lady comes over and talks. She's pregnant, she was in there for an abortion appointment, and she was all the way like on the table for the abortion, and then it struck her, I gotta get out of here, right? So she gets up and she leaves, and she just says, and I said, well, we're here for you, like, well, how can we help you? We can throw you a baby shower, like anything you need, we're here for you. And she said, look, I just want to let you guys know that it's because of the people that were out here that I turned away from this today. I want you to let them all know that. So I did, and I gave her my phone number, and we stayed in contact, and they did accept our offer to have a baby shower, and so we became good friends in the process. My wife, helping getting involved with them and becoming friends, and then having the baby shower a few weeks ago, and then I was able to sit down with the grandma last weekend and video her telling her story for about 30 minutes. We did about a 10-minute video out of it, and it more eloquently speaks to what we're doing in this ministry than anything I can possibly say. So I just want you to see the video. I'm going to give you an easy way to make sure that you see the video. If you're already on the email list and you've gotten the video through your email, then great. But if not, I want to encourage you to take out your phones right now. I'm going to invite you to text something to a number, and then it's going to ask you for your email address. You just type in your email address, and then I can make sure to send that video right to your email box. And And then you'll also be in the list to get updates on pro-life events. So if you would like, please take out your phone. Please take out your phone. I'll give you a moment for anyone that would like to do that. Again, this video is something that you want to see and then share, because again, it is a message that we need to get out. It is a story that we need to tell, that we are not just there saying don't do this. We're there saying we love you, we see you, we want to help you, and then we do help them. And this story shows it. What I want you to text is the word pro-love, P-R-O-L-O-V-E, 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 and the number to text it to is 22828, 22828. 22828. And then that should prompt you from there for your email address. You just type that in, and then you're good to go, and I will send you that video. Has anybody done it already and it's working? Okay, awesome. All right, great. So just to, I guess, close up this part is the other local opportunity that is out there right now that we're really trying to invite people into is the opportunity to come to the Stand Out for Life, which is an event that we do once a month, every fourth Saturday from 9 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. Happens to be that the fourth Saturday is tomorrow morning, so it's good timing for it. So come on out and join us. And I see Father Mickey McGrath back there, who's going to be our featured speaker tomorrow. Thank you, Father. And it's just a good opportunity to stand up together in public witness and prayerfully so, in love. If you've never been, just come and see. You'll understand. But it is important that we continue to try to invite more and more people and build numbers, because the public witness of it is important to say, this is not okay, this lie of abortion is going on. And we stand not only against it, but we stand for the opposite truth. We stand for love. We stand for loving our neighbors in need and saying we understand that there are people in need that are being deceived into thinking that they have to turn to abortion. And what we want to say is, let's come alongside them as a community and let them know there's another path. And we have great places that have built out another path, right? There is some great pregnancy help centers in our area, as well as other local agencies. And then with our sidewalk ministry, we're trying to just fill in the gaps. Whatever they need, we're going to work to try to figure out how to help them. We make them that promise, and then we come through. And that's what we're proving. And you'll see it again if you watch that video, that we are for real being out there. And over time, if our story can get out, and we can really be a leaven in the culture to say, this is who we really are, and this is who we all ought to be, to come alongside and help and to love, and really truly in that way, love can and love will end abortion. So that's an important opportunity. So we're going to do some interaction here, like I said, but on the way out, just in case I forget, there are some sign-up sheets out there, and those are specifically for anybody who's willing to say, I put it off, or maybe I tried it once, but I want to try again, or maybe I want to see for the first time, what is it really like to go and pray for an hour on the sidewalk. Got a great opportunity with the 40 Days for Life coming up, which coincides with the 40 Days for Lent. A great opportunity to refocus ourselves, to get our trajectory right, to strip ourselves of the things the comforts that maybe we don't need, and direct ourselves maybe to the people that need us. And so there's some sign-up sheets out there where you can just put your name and again, your email address, and also if you know a specific day and time that you would have a little bit of availability, an hour to go and just come and see. Just come and see. And that would be awesome if you would sign up for that, because the need is great. Remember, 3/4 of the time at this place in Greece, and almost the entire time at the third location we're now covering, we need people, because there are people going in and out all these times when the sidewalk is empty with nobody there in love for them. And what message does that send when we have churches all over the place and nobody's there to stand for them. Nobody's there to be there in their presence and say, I see you and I love you. That is, it's a very sad and wrong thing, quite frankly. So again, we can invite, and try to make sure we stay free from pointing the finger, but try to point the finger at us and say, what can I do? Can I take an hour? And so if you want to sign up and come and see, that would be a great blessing. Okay, let's open it up to questions, thoughts, anything along the lines of if anybody wants to voice any obstacles like that you personally experienced, maybe you've thought about coming to the sidewalk and things like that, but you have certain obstacles that you have a hard time overcoming, maybe we can work through some of that, or maybe it's not you, but a friend who has an obstacle and you want to share that, or you can talk it through, but it helps just to kind of lay things out, look at it, and then figure out really how we can move forward as a people of real, authentic love. So yeah, just open it up right now. Any questions, thoughts, anything along those lines, or whatever is stirring in your heart and mind. Yes.
A little history from my perspective is I'm an obstetrical nurse for over 40 years, and I was at St. Mary's. It was the only Catholic hospital in Rochester, and of course, as a young, brand new nurse, I was very supported by the sisters, the Daughters of Charity, and life was truly respected. And we served the inner city of Rochester, and so many of the young women who would come, they were nervous of coming to us because they thought, as Catholic nurses, that we would kill them and save their babies, but it wasn't true. Anyways, my deal is over the time, St. Mary's closed, and we are now a part of this other Rochester regional whatever crap. Anyways, my concern is in my life, in my nursing career, is that now there are many young women who are being duped when now with all this wonderful technology, they find out that babies aren't perfect. And so many of the physicians are now encouraging them to I forgot what the word is that they use, but it's an abortion, because their babies may not survive outside the womb. And why would you want to carry your child and then only for them to die at birth?
Yes.
And these women are, they don't have anything else but what their doctors are telling them.
Yeah.
As a nurse, I'm now told that this young woman who's coming in, and she has a perfectly alive child in her womb, and she's coming in for an induction or whatever. And I am at this promise of myself of how I love this woman, but how can I participate in what I know is not the best for her? And so I asked her.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I think the reality that you're voicing there is that the live abortion is very much baked in, even into the medical community. And that goes right to back in 1965 when the medical community changed the definition of pregnancy to to implantation, which they then changed the definition of conception to implantation, when in fact that leaves out the stage of fertilization to implantation, of which we still have a human being, right? So, and why did they do that? It was around the same time that the birth control pill was coming onto the market, and the birth control pill was killing human life at that stage between fertilization and implantation. So in order to get around that, the medical community simply redefined conception, redefined pregnancy to not beginning until implantation. So completely non-scientific, a complete lie. It's the lie of abortion baked into the medical community. In terms of fetal anomaly, have you heard of the organization Be Not Afraid? This is where I would direct you. They are on top of this. BeNotAfraid.net. organization that is working really nationally and trying to raise exactly this issue that you're talking about, and to walk with the couples that are in that situation. So they've got a bunch of couples who have been through this, and will walk with other couples, you know. But really, this is something that ought to be built out in every local community. There ought to be support groups for that, and places to go where people are going to give you the truth and the right information. It's hard to do that when you have a medical community that is living by the lie, right? And especially hard to navigate that when you are a medical professional in that community. So very difficult waters to navigate. You know, I would just say that it is obviously we can never participate in an abortion, which is the direct intentional killing of a human life. So any sort of direct participation in that, we would obviously, if it costs us our job, it would cost us our job, you know. But we want to try to, I think, evangelize the medical community, right?
When you talk about desensitized,
Yeah.
so our young nurses, so I have a different perspective and I have a big mouth and am able to, but the thing is our young nurses, our young people into this are being very desensitized to this, saying, oh, this is going to solve this young couple's problem. Who would want to, why would you want to carry a baby anyway?
Yeah, so all of those questions, be not afraid of them. Be not afraid. That's the education piece for sure, and the support piece. So be not afraid on that is what you're looking for. And I would say, let's even scale this problem out across other areas. So medical community, right, where you've got the live abortion baked in, legal system, education system, even in the church in some ways. People are making agreements with the live abortion, minimizing it, ignoring it, making excuses about it, things like that. So in all of these areas, it takes leaders. It takes prophets to rise up. They might not be the one that's in a seat of power. They might be in a very low seat in that structure. But we are called to proclaim the truth in our words and in our actions, and that will probably cost us something when we're in a culture that is clinging to the lie. But somebody's got to break through, and if we're that first line, that it takes our lives to break through, and we've got to pay the price, and we lose jobs, we lose reputation, we lose whatever, let's break through. Because then the next line can come through, and it's going to be a little bit easier for them. They might still have a big cost, and then the next line is going to come through, and it's going to get easier and easier for those that come to proclaim the truth in their witness and in their words. So we've got to play our part and simply be faithful. All right. Yes. Yeah, no, I share the frustration with it, and it goes right along the lines of what we were just talking about, right? A culture, right? There's a culture, and when the leaders are not leading to a reasonable level of really seeing the truth, proclaiming happens is we all fall into a sort of comparison trap, right? Which is, we might think about this. We might come across it in some other area and say, maybe this is a bigger deal than I thought. Maybe I should do something. But then we look at the leader and we say, well, they're not doing anything, so I must be wrong. You know, we kind of compare ourselves and say, well, I guess if Father's doing that, then I better tone it down too, right? But the fact is that we are all called to receive the gospel and then to live the gospel. And so we just can't compare, we can't fall into the comparison trap, right? So if we're taking the time to really receive the truth and then we want to go live it, this is an area that's going to rise up for us in our prayer. If we have a prayer life, this is going to rise up in our prayer life when we read Matthew 25. Who are the least of these? What do we do about abortion in our midst? And then when we encounter, just the brokenness of maybe a friend that we come across who has been through abortion, and we just start to understand what's going on in the culture, that ought to pull something out of us that says, I am called to do something about this, not just sit around and think there's nothing we can do or to minimize the state of this or whatever else. But I think the right way to land on it is it's all work that we have to first and foremost do in our own hearts and minds. And that's why looking at it in that lens of let's not compare ourselves. Let's try to say, okay, where do I need to get to for me to really understand this? And then for me to do what I'm called to do. And then from there, there might be some time where I'm called to talk to Father about that. Or maybe he's just going to see my witness as I start to talk with other people who happen to be in the parish and we're doing something, and Father starts to see that. You know what I mean? So the fact is that we need each other. Right? We can all go off the mark, no matter what position we're in. And so if we're seeing that, we don't want to, fall into the negative cycle of that, which is to then our mind is being occupied and our hearts are being occupied with just being frustrated, right? That again, we want to strip ourselves of that so that we can be free to go and be who we're called to be. And we're all called to lead in that way. Again, it doesn't matter what seat we're in, if it's a powerful one or not. We are all called to be faithful. I guess that's the best I can speak to it at this moment. But I share the frustration, and I think that we ought to. We all have to raise our standards in this area, and there's nothing wrong with having that conversation with our pastors and saying, look, this is what it is. This is what Jesus is saying. I think we're called to do more. I think we are called to say something about it. By the way, Father Jim Pius is teaching a class at St. Bernard's on how priests can speak about this from the pulpit. So, thank you, Father. And witnesses like that are what we need. So again, we want to be in the right frame of mind ourselves, but go out and do what we're called to do, even if it means facing our fears, to go lovingly talk to our pastor and call him on. Usually that doesn't go very well, just in my own experience. Even if we do it as lovingly and as peacefully as possible, usually that doesn't really go great. But again, it's planting seeds, and then it really does come down to, are we going to go and live it? Because that's got to back up anything that we have to say, our witness. So
I just like to say, Father Paul not really a picture.
Praise God.
Yes, and I'm just saying that it's a whole generation
Sure.
that came through that did not do the truth.
Sure. Bad things have happened over the decades. And one thing to look out for, I want to make mention of this, is a distorted, consistent life ethic that minimizes the reality of abortion. So here's the authentic, consistent life ethic that Pope John Paul II would reference, that is good and true and beautiful, which is, we are called to love every single human being. Yes. We are to care about everything that affects every human being. Yes. And there is a magnitude and priority between the different things that do affect human beings. And when we have an ongoing human rights atrocity that is killing 3,000 human beings a day and exploiting 3,000 pregnant moms a day for profit and rippling out into society and causing this corseting in society when it comes to human dignity, which then we see the effects of that all over the place, the culture of death, we have to be real about the extent of what we're talking about. And there's nothing proportional to that sort of evil going on in our world today. So we have to be real about that and say, yeah, that has to affect the way we vote. That has to affect the way we pray. That has to affect the way we live. Of course it does, right? So not to fall into the distorted consistent life ethic, a distorted sort of seamless garment, which has been theologically put forth so intellectually at times by those in leadership positions, which basically says, well, we have to care about everything. And therefore, what they're really trying to say is everything is equal. Everything is not equal, right? Yes, we have to care about everything, and there is a difference in weight between the things that affect humanity. And let's be real about the magnitude and priority of abortion in our world today, and let's be people of integrity when it comes to responding about that, not hypocrites that say we care about human life and then act like all these things are like just watered down and kind of just equal, to everything. So, but that's stuff that people have gathered over time, even in seminaries and things like that. So, very, very sad. Yes.
Perhaps for each one of us today, just do something very simple and put a little personal thank you note or if you know about the call, just thank him for letting this happen today. I think if he heard from each one of us, whether we want to Pius or not, that would probably give him even more reassurance that these kind of events should continue and that we should be more helpful like community here.
Yeah, that's great. Gratitude is always a good thing. So yeah, just we need each other. We have to encourage one another to keep moving forward. All right, just about a minute to go. So I think I don't really have much else to say. Let's sneak something else in. Did you have something?
Yeah, let's say I have some apprehension on wanting, how do I get out to the sidewalk? I don't even know where the locations are. I don't know where to park. If I sign my name up, could you give me just a step-by-step process of how I would actually get out to the sidewalk? I mean, I wouldn't know who I'd be meeting. I don't even know how to dress one. I mean,
Yes,
what would be the
so perfect. This is a perfect way to close it up, and then if anybody has anything else you want to discuss after, I'll be here. But perfect. So yeah, what you would do is just put your information down. I will contact you personally back, and just try to figure out, okay, what's a good time for you? I'll share with you. We'll figure out what's the best location for you. I'll show you where the things are. I'll look at the schedules and figure out what time is good for you and see if I can match you up with an experienced person on the sidewalk. We're not just going to send somebody out there on an empty hour and say, go out there and see how it goes. No, we're going to match you with somebody that's been out there a long time and that you can see them in action. So you show up and pray, and then you also will be in prayer support for that sidewalk advocate who is reaching out in love, and you'll get to gain the experience of seeing how that all works, which is the greatest possible training, even better than the 5-hour training that we do, to get that hands-on training with that sidewalk advocate on the sidewalk is the best. So that's kind of the process. Does that answer it or anything more on that?
That's good.
Good to go? All right. We only have, what's that? Okay, we are out of time, so yeah, there are booklets in the back that Father Jim Hughes has laid out, so those are in the back corner over here, right when you go out the doors. Those sign-up sheets are out there, so please sign up if you'd be willing to just come and see for 1 hour. I'll even try to figure out a way if I can get there on the sidewalk to be with it, but we'll certainly at least match you up with a very experienced person out there. Come tomorrow to the Standout for Life, 9 to 10:30 a.m. outside of that downtown Planned Parenthood. We do also have some flyers out there, some half-page flyers for the next Standout for Life. So if you can't make it to this one for some reason, I know it's late notice if you're just hearing about it, grab the flyer, stick it on your refrigerator or whatever as a reminder of every fourth Saturday, that next fourth Saturday in March, that flyer will remind you. And even though we're out of time, would it be we would just hear from this beautiful woman up here real quick. She raised her hand a couple times. I want to make sure that she gets heard. So.
I just want to say one thing in this politically charged atmosphere that we live in, and it makes me sad and angry that all these politicians keep talking about women's rights. Women's rights, that's all you hear is about women's rights. No mention of the fact that these children have rights. So I think we all have an obligation just to our friends, our family, to talk about this a little bit.
Absolutely. And not to be afraid to say, not to say like, I have to know everything before I bring it up. Learn. When you have a conversation with somebody, afterwards walk away from it and say, I wasn't really sure what to say there, and then start learning about it. It's always good to have a pro-life book that you're reading, right? If you, again, go to levelandabortion.com, I've got some suggested resources there in terms of books and stuff as well. But in terms of women's rights, you said it well, but I'll also add that women have a right not to be lied to, right? And that's what is happening with the lie of abortion in our culture. It's saying this is no big deal, this is just a medical procedure like having your tonsils out, don't worry about it. Abortion hurts women deeply. Abortion is devastating to women and to our community. And so I do want to say just the word, it's always good to say something to those that have been affected by abortion, to let them know that they are loved and that no matter what happened, to just encourage them again. So there may be that obstacle there if they've not received, if they've not presented it if they've not repented, presented it to our Lord for forgiveness, if they've not presented it to our Lord for some healing, there may be that obstacle between receiving His love and loving Him back and then loving others that can be very, very devastating, right? So just to encourage, you are loved, no matter what you're thinking or feeling, you are loved, you are lovable. Hand it over to the Lord. Hand it over sincerely to the Lord. Don't go on what you're feeling. Go on who He is, the truth that you know of who He is, who He's revealed Himself to be. He loves you. Hand it over to Him doesn't mean it wasn't a bad thing. It was, but that's what repentance from our sins is. To hand over our sins and say, I'm sincerely sorry here. To let Him take that and to pour His grace upon us once more. What an exchange. It's available for us. No sin is too far from being repented of when it's done sincerely. And so it's important to be sharing that and to share resources about healing after abortion, which also, there are psychological tools and things like that. So supportafterabortion.com is a great comprehensive resource where it's a national group. You call them, text them, email them, you connect with them, supportafterabortion.com. They find out what you're ready for, what kind of healing you want. Do you want one-on-one? Do you want Catholic? Do you want Protestant? Do you want no faith involved? Like, where are you at? And what do you want? Group healing, retreat? Like, what is it? They'll match you up with the best possibility. They'll love on you and help you connect and get that support that you need and that you deserve. There are many women in our time who have gone from being wounded by abortion to being warriors for life, that are out there now on the front lines. And I'll tell you, it is one of the most beautiful things. What a witness to God's grace. What a witness to God's grace and how He can transform us and then use us. So let no excuse be a valid excuse in your lives. I'm too old, I'm too young, I did this, I did that. Let's understand that we are made for love and that we are called to go out and to share that love no matter who we are or what degree we're at. I'm not holy enough, whatever it is. Going to the sidewalk in this ministry is a school of love. It is a school of holiness. Our Lord will form us more and more while we're out there. If we can learn to see an abortion worker with eyes of love, who we don't even know, right, and who is so far gone at that moment, right? If we can learn to see that pregnant on the need, if we can learn to see that child which is invisible to our eyes, if we can learn to see these people that we encounter, the person driving by who might give us a little persecution, right? If we can learn to see all of these people with eyes of love, if we can be trained up by the Lord in that way, think about the repercussions of that as we go back and love our family, as we go back and love the people in our parish. It is a school of love, a school of holiness out there. You can't sustain being out there if you're not growing in holiness. It forces you to draw closer to the Lord. So it's all pro nobis. It's all for us. This is to be a blessing to us, even though it's hard, even though it's sacrificial at times. I very rarely wake up when I have a shift on the sidewalk and say, I'm so excited to go. Usually it's like, oh, I gotta go out there. And I have to overcome it, right? I have to overcome it by God's grace, and He provides. And then I go out there, and then He'll use me in ways that I'll be like, God, you're amazing. And just all glory to God for what He does. You know, He will use us to bring His people to Him, and what a privilege. What a privilege to be a part of that in such a dramatic way as well. So praise God. So let's close it up with a quick prayer in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I thank You for each and every person here. I ask You to help us to go forth from here just with a great certainty of Your love for us, a boldness and confidence that comes in our hearts, knowing how You love us and how You make us to go and share in Your love and share that love with others. You are a consuming fire, God. Make that fire come alive in us. Burn off the things that are not of You, and help us to really overcome any of the things that are in the way between You and us, and us and others, and help us to just be who we are made to be, more and more and more. Help us to build Your kingdom by an authentic witness of love in this world, one that doesn't just say something, but one that actually does what we really believe. We love You and we praise You. Please bless everybody who's been affected by abortion throughout our culture. Bring them healing and strengthening. Bring conversion to all of us, and bring great healing, especially to those that have been affected. And we ask the intercession of all of the holy innocents, those children who have had their lives cut short by this ongoing human rights atrocity. Help us to not forget them, to forget that they are real human beings worthy of our love. We ask that they would pray for us from your sacred heart, Lord, that they would intercede for us and help us to become who we are made to be, not just for us, but that we can be for others as well. That we might reach the end of this human rights atrocity of abortion as soon as possible. We pray this all in Your name, Jesus.